I have to admit, it was very hard for me to get sleep last night. I kept reliving every single missed opportunity in last night's game. I still can't believe that after that incredible team performance that wasn't enough for us to go through. Yet ultimately, I guess the mistakes he made on our own part was what cost us in the end. But to be honest, now that I've seen the game again as well, now that I've been able to collect my thoughts, I actually feel a lot more positive even though we lost the game last night. So in today's What We Learned video, here positive takeaways from last night's game. I hope you guys enjoy, but before we get into anything, I want to get one big plug out the way first. Today's video is brought to you by Profit Accumulator, which is a match betting website. Now, match betting is completely different to standard betting. Why is that? Well, that's due to the fact that with match betting, it uses the bookmaker offers against each other. And I'm sure you guys have seen the crazy amounts of sign-up offers that bookies look to use to entice people to sign up to their services. You know, for example, put in £50, get an extra free £50 to play with, etc., etc. With Profit Accumulator and their website and just how the entire structure of it works, they can find all these offers, use them against each other in literal seconds. It's no surprise why this has become such a viable side income option for many users. They have over 150,000 registered users where they're all making a steady profit, which is actually the key thing about match betting. So for anyone that is looking to get some more information, for anyone interested in potentially getting involved, right now is the best opportunity. If you go to the link below in the description, you'll find the free trial link to use. Click on that, use it, and follow the excellent in-depth tutorials created by the website as well too to get more information. So what you guys are waiting for, here to help you out. Link below in the description. And to start with the first talking point, has Thomas Tuchel finally been able to find a system that gets the best out of our attacking players? Because ever since we've seen the introduction of a 3-4-1-2 system with Mason Mount playing as that free cam in behind two strikers, is it any surprise that we've scored 9 goals in the past 2 games? And is it any surprise that we are creating opportunities and big chances time and time again with great consistency? It does feel like with this setup, we are finally seeing a formation now which can provide more goal threat in this team. And is it any surprise that players like Timo Werner now has found new life? I mean, in God knows how long, it's the first time he scored in 2 consecutive matches. And playing in this system, you can see a completely different Timo Werner that gets to play as a wide forward, that gets to have his pace utilised in the team as well too. But I think most importantly, and it's one thing I have noticed this season, one detail, yeah, when we play with 2 strikers up front, I feel like we have a better opportunity at creating chances against teams and much bigger and greater opportunities. I think the fact that a lot of times we play with 1 striker up front, they do have a habit of getting outmanned by opposition defenders, but by sharing that workload, by having 2 strikers playing in that spaces between, the defender and the fullback, not only does it allow us to pin back opposition defensive lines, but I just feel like it gives us more numbers now when it comes to attacking inside the box. And for me, it's really no coincidence that we've created over 20 opportunities. Our XG has been ridiculous in these past 2 games due to using a system now which creates bigger quality opportunities and is a lot more offensive. For me, I've got a lot of faith now behind the system. I'm hoping that we continue to see this system used until this season does end. I think we have a big chance against Crystal Palace now in the semi-final. But honestly, you guys, it finally feels like, okay, the chances can be created. I see Mason Mount performing even better now that he has more license to affect the game from deeper positions. Havertz has a partner up front alongside him as well too, where they complement each other very well in Werner and Kai. And I guess after seeing how this team performed last season in the Champions League, is it any surprise that they would be able to play together? I guess not. It's taken Tuchel a long time to find a way to utilise these types of players up front now, but we are seeing some big bonuses from using this new formation. All these tweaks are finally starting to pay off. Let's see if we continue to bang in the goals using this 3-4-1-2. Now we move on to the next talking point, and for me, I think we can all universally agree on what I'm about to say next, but this game proved that Thomas Tuchel must be backed, because if we focus on the small details, and at this level, the smaller details add up even more, and those details are, if Tuchel had a squad in his full image, I don't think we're losing that game. And I'll make this point, the only manager in Chelsea history that's been able to have a squad fully catered towards the image has been Jose Mourinho, where he was the only manager to have 25 players that fit how he wants his team to play. And is it any surprise or coincidence that once he left, essentially that squad and set of players was able to compete by themselves regardless of managers that was taking charge of them at the time. And for the managers that tried to get them to play a different style of football, they were out the door as quickly as possible. I'm looking at Scolari and Villas-Boas. So there definitely is a lot of benefit to having a manager who has the luxury to have a squad in his full image, because those small details that affected us was not having proper midfield support. Because for me, that affected Kante, who, I mean, the guy is showing signs of fatigue, and I think he's rushed back consistently time and time again. It's been the story for him and Kovacic throughout the season, and ideally, the manager wants to rely on players that he can put in the team, allowing these players to rest. But unfortunately, Jorginho's form is just not as good. Saul, who's supposed to be that midfield reinforcement for us, has barely played, even though he's been our fittest player throughout the season, which tells you everything you need to know about how he's valued by Tuchel in the squads. And eventually you get found out, because in the biggest games, those details get scrutinized even more. I think if we had greater depth too in the wing-back positions, that would have affected our chances even more in last night's game. It's been an issue that we've needed for a long time. And as a fan base, we've been crying out for more reinforcement in midfield and in the wing-back areas, but unfortunately it's fallen on deaf ears. And I guess last night and over these 2 legs against Real Madrid, it's really reinforced the message that you must plan your squad in great detail. And I think Tuchel, with his excellent tactical setup, I mean, this guy's tactical solutions elevate us and give us a bigger opportunity of winning games. And the way we played against Madrid last night was absolutely sensational. He's proven that if you back him properly and give him a squad in his full image, we will reap the rewards and benefits over the next few years. So right now, we move on to the next talking point. And for me, I think it's safe to say that Reece James announced himself as one of the best, if not the best fullback in Europe right now. When Karim Benzema is asking to swap shirts with him, when Vinicius Jr. is acting like a fangirl now, it was on Instagram, he's on Twitter saying, big up Reece James, good luck for the future. You know what that tells me? That tells me that after the game, all these Madrid players were collectively talking about Reece James, and I'm sure they were like, wow, who the hell is this kid? I mean, he's absolutely unreal. I guess real recognizes real, only makes sense. And Reece James' performance, as he continues to show in the biggest games, continues to defy his very young years. I mean, under pressure, he always has a cool head. He always finds a solution to play out from the press, and you need to have quality football players who have that ability to step up in big games like that, where when the game goes man v man, you can rely on your guy to win his individual battle. I mean, the way he stayed tight to Vinicius Jr. was absolutely incredible, and I'm sure Tuchel will look back in that first leg and think, why did I take such an unnecessary risk by creating a distance between Christensen and Reece James, allowing Vinicius to be free? Because as was proven, especially in the second half of the first leg, once Reece James got tight and went man v man against Vinicius, for all his dribbling attempts, rarely ever got past him at all, which is a massive testament to Reece James, because to play that type of game where you still have to step up for the team, you picked up a very early yellow card, which for me is very harsh, in my opinion, regardless, but for that not to affect your game at all, or affects your confidence, I mean, this, for me, is proof of a superstar, of a real world-class talent. You guys know my thoughts and opinions. For me, he easily gets into our greatest ever lineup playing as our right back, because I haven't seen a right back play better than him, and we've had some very good players playing in that position. But Reece James, his quality in all aspects of his game, that's just how complete his overall game is. Is there any surprise now that reports are coming out suggesting that Madrid staff and coaching staff and scouts were very impressed by his performance? I know the fans were very impressed by how he played yesterday too, and I wouldn't be surprised that Real are trying to do everything they can to persuade Reece James to sign, because for me, this guy gets into any team in the world, and at Chelsea Football Club, we need more players like that, because ultimately they are the big difference makers that elevate teams and take you to the next level. So Reece James, absolutely outstanding. Give this guy the captaincy, get this guy a new deal already. He can never leave our club. And moving on now, I guess it's time to speak about some realistic things from the game yesterday. And I want to discuss the biggest winners and losers out of the players. Starting with winners, for me, the big winners were Alonso, Ruben, Reece James, Mount, and Timo Werner as well too. I'm going to focus on Marcos Alonso. I mean, of course, a game like this probably had massive significance for the player. I mean, his entire family have come from Madrid. I think his dad or granddad used to play for Real Madrid as well too. So he has a lot of history tied with this club. Also coming from their youth academy as well too. I mean, he put in an absolute classic Alonso performance, and it's one of those performances that he has in his locker. And you're always hoping that you get that type of Marcos Alonso on a consistent basis, because I mean, his ability to keep the ball under pressure, how he was using his body and frame too, the deliveries inside the box too as well too, and that disallowed goal. I mean, the technique with his right foot on the half volley, that was superb. That was excellent. He made it look a lot easier than it actually was. I thought he was absolutely outstanding with the team. He's definitely a winner. Ruben as well, playing this new tactical role as like an inverted wingback. It's not the first time we've seen Tuchel experiment with like hybrid wingbacks in the team to great success. Loftus-Cheek for me has been a very good squad player throughout the season. 1 or 2 bad games, he gets written off. I get a bit bored by how certain players get analysed. It's just not fair, to be honest, and it's too dismissive. So when you're too dismissive, you miss out on the key qualities a player possesses. And the thing is, you can't fluke a performance like what Ruben's shown in the past 2 games. You have to be a top quality player as it is. It's obvious that Tuchel rates him highly. That's why he's replaced Jorginho quite a lot in the team when he has been able to stay fit. And for me, he showed exactly why he's a player that just needed some patience and time to get his full fitness back. Moving on to other winners, Timo Werner I'm going to end with. Werner for me, playing this new Southern system, having support around him, you know, simplifying the game where he doesn't have to be stationed out wide in wide positions where, you know, whenever he has to hold the ball up, he can't do that. You don't have that frame. You don't use Werner like that. Werner's about being on the run every single time. It was a bit annoying that the times he was finding good positions to run in behind, he wasn't getting the good service with balls over the top. That is one thing that he desperately needs, and if we can get that component in midfield, I'm sure you could see a different Timo Werner. The way he pressed from the front as well too, but you know that. The way his pace just literally devastates defensive lines and creates even more space for the team too. Listen, if Werner can continue this form, I'm perfectly happy to change my opinions on him, because as I keep stressing, it's how you use these players. And if it's looking like we're finding a way to get the best out of him, I mean, I can see the real Timo Werner. I guess we should keep continuing to watch this space and let's see how his season progresses. Moving on to losers, for me, I'd say it's Kante, Silva, Jorginho and Pulisic. Starting with Kante, it came down to the fact that he's not fully fit. If we had proper midfield reinforcement, we get to keep the best N'Golo Kante for the big games. And if we had last season's Kante versus Madrid, those mistakes don't come at all. Another loser I might have to say would be Thiago Silva over 2 legs. I think out of all our defenders playing in the back, I'd say he's the weakest. I'm not using Christensen because I think because we were poor tactically, that exposed him, and I can't really blame him for that. But I think there was a few times, and as I've seen versus Real Madrid, I do feel like Benzema has an advantage over Silva. Maybe he takes advantage of that lack of athleticism, where there was a few times in the transition where Silva isn't in those areas covering the danger which you'd expect him to be in. I thought his passing at times too, he wasn't really providing that, you know, those customary balls over the top that we know that he can do, those world-class passes in behind. He wasn't really able to show that throughout on both legs. I just felt like some of the poor decision making at times did affect us. I'm looking at that final goal Madrid scored last night. I understand the pass that was made, but I just felt like there had to be more conviction behind it to really know who you're playing it towards, because I thought it created some confusion for no reason. So it wasn't the best account of Silva. We know he's a lot better than that. And I'd say another one for me would be Pulisic. I just felt like he had amazing opportunities over both legs to be able to put us on the score sheet. You know, at times, acting as that impact sub, he gets in great areas to affect the game, but he just, I don't know if it's a physicality thing or lack of power, but, you know, he doesn't take advantage of them. We had an opportunity to win this in normal time with this chance right at the end. And I'm thinking, you know, for a guy that literally just got on the field, it looked like he was already tired before the game started. I was seeing this incident where Valverde was able to literally like lose the ball and literally come back to win it past him again, when he's been on the field, what, 3 times longer than Pulisic. So it was not the best account of himself. And for me, I just think he struggles playing as this type of forward for Tuchel. He's just a winger, and if he can't play as one, then he can't play to his best ability. But on that note, I think I'm going to wrap things up now and keep things moving. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you're feeling a bit more optimistic now that we've had 24 hours to process a very you know, a very sad defeat and loss after an incredibly proud performance from our team. So on that note, I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lines CV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.